Good morning, Ms. Stair. Ma'am, you're charged with driving while intoxicated, second offense. You are facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you, ma'am.
Yes, Judge. Officers were dispatched to Fairmont Parkway in Harris County, Texas, and the defendant was arguing with her husband in the parking lot and got into the car and drove off, nearly hitting him and causing him to fall to the ground. Witnesses called the police, and officers found the defendant in her vehicle near the exit with the car in drive. The defendant ignored the officer's request to turn the car off, and officers noted slurred speech, red eyes, and unsteady balance, in addition to an odor of an alcoholic beverage. Standard field sobriety tests were conducted, HGN 4 out of 6, and the defendant refused the remainder of tests and was transported to JPC. The DIC was read and the defendant refused. A blood warrant was signed and executed. During an inventory of the vehicle, the officer located 2 stemless wine glasses. The glasses contained a small amount of a red liquid smelling of an alcoholic beverage and showed recent signs of consumption. The defendant's purse was located in the front passenger seat and was stained with the red liquid matching the hue of the liquid in the glasses, still wet and smelled of a fruity alcoholic beverage.
Stair, I'm going to find that there's sufficient probable cause to go forward with the case. I am now ordering you as the condition of your bond not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, or unprescribed controlled medication. I am now also taking away your privilege to drive. You are not allowed to drive. Do you understand? If I find that you do, I will revoke your bond, put you in jail, and I'm going to make it high. You will be signing an affidavit with me today, promising me you're not going to drive. It doesn't matter what you need to do. Do you understand? Not only that, I'm now placing a restriction on your license that you are not allowed to drive any vehicle that is not equipped with an ignition interlock. I send this order to DPS so that every single officer in this state knows you get pulled over, they'll look you up, they'll see that you need an interlock in your car, and if you're caught driving one that doesn't have one, they will take you to jail. Can you run her NCIC, please?
Yes, Judge. So she only has the one prior from 2000 at a Port 5 DWI, no other prior DWI.
Okay. Do you have the ability to hire a lawyer, or would you like to apply for?
I'd like to apply for a court appointed.
Okay. Deputy Miranda is going to give you an application for an appointed lawyer. I'll have you fill it out and I'll take a look to see whether you qualify. I'm going to have you come up here, swear to us that you're not going to drive. I will get you to Ramona where you will sign a reset. You will get with Fleischer for your bond conditions. I don't know if you have a problem with alcohol or drugs. If you do, now is the time for you to address it. Because if I see it becomes a problem, I will address it for you. And I promise you're not going to like the way that I do it. Do you understand? Okay, come on. I see that you have a lawyer. I don't know where they are, but we need to get cooking. So, okay. So, Mr. Malard, you're charged with 2 cases. You're charged with driving while intoxicated, second offense. You're also charged with resisting arrest. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On March 1st, 2025, at approximately 11:08 p.m., the officer was dispatched to a 911 call regarding a vehicle stopped on the road with the male in the driver's seat passed out on North 8th Street in Harris County, Texas. The officer observed the defendant's vehicle stopped on the road facing the wrong side, forcing multiple vehicles to drive around the defendant's vehicle. The officer observed the defendant's vehicle's engine on, with the defendant sitting in the driver's seat, appearing to be sleeping or passed out. The vehicle was in drive with the defendant's foot on the brake. The officer observed an open container of Bacardi rum, 750 milliliter bottle, approximately 10% full, sitting in the front right passenger seat, and the officer attempted several times to wake the defendant unsuccessfully.
Things escalate. Fast officers had to break a window just to remove him from the vehicle.
To get into the motor vehicle due to the doors being locked. The officer placed the vehicle into park, and the defendant was asked to step out, who immediately fell to the ground. The officer observed slurred speech, red bloodshot eyes, a strong odor of an alcoholic beverage, and poor balance. The defendant refused any standard field sobriety test, and the defendant advised he had not consumed any alcoholic beverages, wished to speak to his lawyer, and was loudly repeating no consent to all questions. The defendant was read the DIC and refused breath. A blood search warrant was signed and executed. The defendant was transported to HCA Southeast ER to obtain blood. and the defendant refused to exit the officer's motor vehicle, even when the officer asked multiple times. The officer had to physically guide the defendant out of the vehicle, and the defendant stopped walking while walking to the ER with the officer and advised he wanted to go to the Veterans Hospital. The officer advised the defendant he had a search warrant, and the defendant refused to move. The officer grasped the defendant's upper arm and advised the defendant again of the search warrant, and the defendant refused to move. The officer advised the defendant that if he had to pull him inside, he was facing additional charges. The defendant again refused to move. The defendant advised he wanted to go to the VA hospital, and the defendant started pulling away in the direction away from the entrance to the hospital. The officer attempted to pull the defendant to the entrance, and the defendant continued to pull away. The defendant went dead weight and laid down on the ground outside and refused to move while screaming at the top of his lungs, "Someone help me." The officer was assisted by hospital security in placing the defendant in a wheelchair, allowing transport into the hospital, and the defendant's blood was only able to be drawn with assistance of 3 officers holding the defendant down.
My goodness. Can you run his NCIC? Does he also have a felony DWI with a child as well?
It was reduced to a DWI just above a 0.15.
If you have a problem with alcohol, you better address it, Mr. Malard. Because if you don't, I'm going to do it for you. I don't want you out in the middle of the night, and I'm now giving you a curfew. You are not allowed out past 9 p.m. to 6 a.m., and I'm going to put a monitor on your ankle so I know that you're not out in the middle of the night. On your other ankle, I'm going to put a SCRAM monitor so I know that you're not consuming alcohol. Likewise, I don't want you to drive. I am now taking away your privilege to drive as well. You're not allowed to drive. Do you understand?
Judge 96?
Yeah.
Raise your hand. Raise your hand.
Heed this warning. If I find that you drive, I can have a contempt hearing. Every single time that you drive, it's an offense in and of itself, punishable by up to 6 months in jail and a $500 fine. Do you understand? I don't care what the justification is. Jesus comes, needs a ride to church. I don't care. Do not drive. I am also now placing a restriction on your license that you.
Excellent. That's all. Cool. I couldn't see them.
I am now placing an additional restriction on your license as well, that you are not allowed to drive any vehicle that doesn't have an ignition interlock on it. If you're caught driving a vehicle, number one, we're going to have issues with this. Number two, I'm sending now notice to DPS in Austin so that they know any vehicle that you drive is supposed to have an interlock in it. So if you're caught driving a vehicle that doesn't have an interlock, they will take you directly to jail. Do you understand? At this time, you're not allowed to drive. So you will get, well, you got the SCRAM, so I'm not going to give you a portable device, but I don't want you drinking at all. This thing is extremely finicky that they're putting on your ankle. So know what you put in your body. Do you understand, Mr. Malard?
Yes, sir.
If I find that you consume alcohol, anything that has alcohol in it, cakes, candies, foods, gums, energy drinks, hair dye, I've heard it all. If I find that you're consuming, it's really not going to go well. So I'm going to have you come up here, swear to this. After that, I'm going to get you to Ramona, where we will have you sign a reset. I will have you get with Felicia for your bond conditions, and then we'll have you take a seat while we wait for your guys to get here. Come on.
Mr. Malard.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Sebastian.